Hey everyone, I hope you are getting ready to have a great Christmas together with your family as we celebrate the birth of Jesus and the gift that God gave us through Christ and for salvation. And during this Christmas time, one of the things we emphasize as believers is missions, especially foreign missions. We as a church take up an offering every year, this time of year, to support missionaries around the world. And one of the things I wanted to do during this Christmas time is have a conversation with some of my favorite missionaries. And they're getting ready to go back on the mission field. And so first of all, if y'all would, introduce yourselves and tell our church family and those that will be watching what it was that compelled you to give up, really, I guess, the American dream, the comforts of America, and go to a foreign mission field to serve Jesus.
Yeah. My name is Jake Ruffton, and this is my wife, Emily Ruffton. And, as we think about the gospel and what we see in the gospel and how God giving Christ, him being incarnated into the world, coming as through the Virgin Mary, being born, and his life that he lived on the earth. When we think about that and how what God gave us in Christ and the way that he came to us, that is essentially the heart of mission. It's we also, like Christ, want to go into the world and where Christ is not being preached, where Christ is not known, and where we are is in our context, where we do mission, there's a great need, for Christ to be made known. So that's the heart of, I guess, why we want to do mission. And, I think, is that a sufficient answer?
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely. I think exactly what you said, because Christmas is a mission. It's the mission that Jesus came on, leaving heaven to come to earth to save us, and I think that really encapsulates the whole story of mission. I know I've known you, Emily, for quite a long time, and I guess the first time I got to hang out with you was in Montana on a mission trip.
Wow.
And you were still in high school. We played basketball, and you beat me very bad every time, and so we won't discuss that much further. But I know you went to the mission field, when you were 19? So
17.
17.
Yeah.
17. Wow, you were just a baby.
Yeah, I was a baby.
And I remember having the conversations with your grandparents about you leaving to go overseas and them being nervous and everything. So share a little bit about why at such a young age you felt called to do that.
My grandmother still regrets taking me to Montana because she's like, it's my fault that they live in South Asia because I took her at a young age. And so I do remember growing up loving going to Montana, loving the idea of missions. Times in middle school as, what do you want to be when you grow up? There are phases like, I want to be a missionary. And I've just had it in my heart from a young age. And really when I started following Jesus and really pursuing him in high school, I felt again called to missions. And my best friend in high school was going on a trip to South Asia for 2 months to travel and to do different types of ministry. And I joined her on that trip kind of as a exploratory mission to a foreign land. And sure enough, 2 weeks in, I was like, I want to live in South Asia forever, and this is the place. And that's where we are. So, and kind of to hit on what Jake mentioned a little bit just about why we go. There's a couple, our amazing pastor that we have at our sending church, and then just some good pastors that we've been exposed to over the years that just really preach and proclaim an eternal mindset that we are on this earth for such a short amount of time, and Jesus talks about here today, gone tomorrow, and we're in eternity forever with Jesus, with our families, with our friends. We will be together forever, and we have this teeny tiny little sliver that God has given us to steward on the earth that, we're just living in tents in this short period of time that we have on earth. And in heaven, it's going to be worth it. Any cost that you count for Jesus, he is worthy, and it is worth it, and we will see that forever. And so I think that those are mentalities we have to keep coming back to when we miss family. And we have a baby now, and it's ripping me apart to take him away from my parents and my grandparents and my friends, and just remembering that he's worthy and worth it, and it's not in vain,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, it's good.
So,
Well, I know 2020's been a really strange and challenging year.
Yeah,
It has been for y'all.
yeah.
Your plans were disrupted.
Right.
So share a little bit about this year from coming home to have the baby
Yeah.
and then being kind of stuck at home, and now
Yeah.
you're making plans to go back. So share a little bit about this year.
Yeah. Well, sure.
sorry.
Basically, we found out we were having our son, and so we're like excited, and months go by, and then she had some low amniotic fluid, and so, long story short, we had felt that we would regret something going awry there rather than coming back here and somehow having to take a break. So we just decided, we made the decision that we would come back here and have our son Cannon here. And so we didn't know that the COVID issue was going to be a thing. So we had intended to go back May of this year, but we're now leaving the 29th of December. So it's been a lot of, okay, Lord, are we even going to get to go back? Lord, is this what you have for us? We've been there since 2016, but maybe it's a new chapter of life. Do we need to pray and consider somewhere else or a different vocation or something else? But, the Lord has been gracious, and we feel like it's such a gift to return. And, you want to share anything as it?
Yeah. I think some of the hardest parts of this year, it has not been an easy year. It has been a very, very difficult year, as just personally for me, and just a lot of the deep heart level conversations that we were having with the Lord of how much of our identity is wrapped up in being a missionary, how much of our identity is wrapped up in what our life looks like there, what people think of us as we live there, the image that we bear, as and just God really just forcing me to see the areas of my life that my hope was in that wasn't him, and that wasn't a foundation that was solid. And he just has used this year to really show me, like, your love for people isn't very genuine. Your motive in ministry is not very pure. Your identity is wrapped up not in me and in being my child, but in the status that you get as a missionary, and just really working through some really difficult heart level sanctifying, purifying times. And it was awful, but I wouldn't trade it, because I feel like he really has used this year to help both of us love people in America and the people that we're anticipating to see in a more pure, genuine, godly way that I feel like we haven't really experienced before because of this year. And so,
I think God's used this year to really open a lot of our eyes to not only his faithfulness, but how we as believers have opportunities all around us, especially with the hurt, the questions a lot of people have now. So, well, just share a little bit about what you do, where you do your ministry, to connect people with the gospel.
Yeah.
And, just a little bit about the ministry you have going on there.
Well, in our context there in South Asia, just some numbers that might help you kind of understand kind of the need for any Christian presence in general. These 4 regions of South Asia, we're trying to be kind of incognito about the location. This region is about the landmass of Georgia, Florida, Alabama, and West Virginia. Those states, those U.S. states, their population is about 30 million. And so that landmass size in the region where we're trying to do work is that population is about 430 million. So that's hard to communicate in a vague way there. But So you can see, and of that 430 million, 75-ish% is Hindu, and then, 25%, roughly 24% is Muslim, and then there's like a sliver of a bunch of random religions. And then of that, there's a small portion that's Christian, and then of that Christian percentage, there's a large portion that's not evangelical. So there's a lot of need there, and reaching these places and that many people, how do you do that? Well, we believe that you just love those that are near you through the confines of the local church, and through, you all have experienced the power of the local church, and as you go through, what are some of those marks of a healthy church? They're preaching, biblical theology, the gospel, conversion, evangelism, membership, discipline, church discipline, discipleship, leadership. You can go through all those marks there, and it is famine, 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 and, the churches that do exist. So in short, what are we trying to do there? We're trying to come alongside existing churches and help see those marks be established, and see healthy people who love the Lord, walk with the Lord, and love those around them. And discipleship with individuals. That's the gist of really what we're all about, and what we are day in, day out trying to accomplish, and how we have to do that through trying to create an avenue, being on a business visa and things like that. So it's tricky to work those things together, because I'm not an entrepreneurial genius, like I didn't sign up for that, but I'm trying to be there, so a lot is just showing up and trying to be faithful to walk with the Lord, and just main priority is loving my wife and my family, and then, loving those around me as we seek the Lord together. And, I'm trying to think, is there something else we should share? There's mediums, discipleship by any means necessary, through children homes, orphan care, and book studies, or any ways to gather people to do evangelism and try to, bring in the people to see who you could disciple, see who you could walk with, and so that's kind of buckshot,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we want y'all to know that we're proud of y'all, and we love y'all, and excited about what God's going to do through your ministry there, and already love hearing some of the great stories that have happened. And church family, and anybody that's listening, at the end of this video, you'll see some ways that you can help support them on their mission. I know one of the biggest things that you can do is just pray for them.
Absolutely.
I know y'all would greatly appreciate
Absolutely.
prayers, and so put them on your prayer list, pray for them daily.
Please.
Not only for their safety and their health and travel and living over there, but pray that God's Spirit would use them as they build relationships and communicate the gospel, and pray that many lives would be changed through their dedication. But also pray about how you may be able to financially help them, either monthly or one-time gift, because I really believe that's a responsibility for those of us who God's not called to go. We can be a part of that ministry by supporting. So at the end of this video, there'll be some information there. You can get in touch with the church, or you can get in touch with them, and they can let you know how you can do that. But again, thank you so much. Hope you have a great Christmas and a great New Year, and we love y'all. We'll see you soon.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you, guys.